Hi guys. So next up on the season previews, we got the Buffalo Bills. So first, let's start with the coaching staff. So I coach, obviously got Sean McDermott. This is his eighth year. It's been doing pretty good. He's led him to settle four division titles. I think six playoff appearances. He's done pretty good. But I feel like if he doesn't have more playoff success soon, he might not have a secure job for much longer. Just because I feel like the Bills are in win now mode, but they haven't done too good, and they haven't made the Super Bowl, which I feel like this team, the owners might want them to. But we'll see. You never know. Defensive coordinator, you got Joe Brady. Technically, his first year as the full time defensive coordinator. He was their intern defensive coordinator, and last year he was named in November, I think. So he was. This is technically his 1.5 years, but this is his first full year as offensive coordinator. So then he spent the past before then he spent the past 2 years as their QB coach. Obviously, Josh Allen has a pretty good years there, but he also has a pretty good years before Brady was hired. So in DC, you got Bobby Bevovich. They got DC coach, their linebackers, like Matt Milano. They've had some really good linebackers come out of nowhere. Like Tremaine Edmonds had a really good year, pretty good year his last year with them before he left the Bears and didn't do that great with them last year. And then Matt Milano's some really good. So yeah, there's their coaching staff. So next we'll go to their depth chart. And then here we go. So of course, start off quarterback, get Josh Allen. There's your quarterback. There's your franchise quarterback. You're fine there. Like he's a great dual threat running back, quarterback. Like he's great at the run. He's great passing. Like when they drafted him, he was a developmental guy, and he developed. He's one of the top quarterbacks. Like last year, he was fourth in passing yards, tied for fifth in touchdowns with 29. He had 18 interceptions, which isn't great, but not terrible because he's still into playoff spot. They still did good. His QB rating was third with 69.6, which is still good too. In the postseason, he had in three playoff games he had. Two. Sorry, two postseason games. He had 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. This is okay. Then he had rating 101.7. He plays for average 68.1, 389 yards. That's about a little under 200 yards a game, which, yeah, and that, they Steelers game also wasn't that close. But then Chiefs ones, they had a great defense last year, so yeah. So his stats, backup, you got Mitch Trubisky, he's probably one of the top backups in the league, but you'd never want him starting again. He is a total bust, and he's not that good. If he has to start, you're in trouble. But he's a good backup. But that's about it. He had to play a little bit last year, but that might have been more blowouts. I just have his stats up. I don't know. Probably most likely more blowouts. But yeah. And behind them, you got Shane Buechele. This is his third year. He hasn't. I don't think he's played a single snap. If he has, anywhere, it's probably hasn't done much. But see, he's a backup. He probably most likely is not making the roster. But you never know. They might probably be practice squad because they probably want to carry. They're most likely will carry 3 quarterbacks just so you can have the emergency backup just in case if Trubisky and Allen both go down. But then at running back, you got James Cook. He did good in his second year. Then so yeah, he did good. He had over 1,000 yards last year. he only had yeah, James Cook did good, but he only had 2 touchdowns, which isn't great. But in our development, hopefully he'll have more touchdowns. But never, he'll just get more opportunities because he wasn't really. I don't think he was much the starter for most of the year. You know, he had over 200 carries, but still. And then he had over because I feel like they use a lot. They use some other running backs too. He had 1,100 yards. Yeah, he averaged 4.7 yards a carry, which is decent. It's good, but not great. So yeah. Then he also had in the air he had 44 catches for 445 yards, which was pretty good. And so he had 2 touchdowns on the ground, but he had four from the air, so he totally had six. But for running backs, like the main thing is like how you did on the ground. But then behind him, you don't have much. Like you got according to this, they think Ray Davis will be their backup. Like he probably will be because he was a first round pick, but he's also going to be 25 by the end of the year, and so we'll see. And like he obviously, you don't know how good he is. Could be good. It could not be. He is a running back. So a lot of mid round running backs do good, but we'll see if he does. He is since number two because I feel like they might go Ty Johnson because he's been there before and he knows the scheme. But speaking of Ty Johnson, we'll go to him next. Like he's there. Like he barely did anything last year. Like he literally only had 30 carries for 132 yards and 0 touchdowns. But he's a good like as your third string running back. That's fine. Like you can get Ray Davis to be able to be your second running back. That's awesome. Or even if or even the guy behind him and Darrington Evans that's good too. Like he's a he's he was kind of got buried in the Tennessee backfield because well obviously they had Derrick Henry and like obviously he was never going to play much in Tennessee with Henry, but we'll see. But because he never has really paid much. Like he literally only had 32 carries for 121 yards and 1 touchdown. Which oh yeah, he didn't get missed opportunities. Then he might not make the roster, but he's son of a legend, so we'll talk about him. We got Frank Gore Jr., like his dad's Frank Gore, future Hall of Famer. So yeah, like he had some good stats at Southern Miss, but he obviously, when you're at Southern Miss, you're not going to face the greatest competition. So yeah, so he might develop, because they didn't draft him, so it's not like they're connected to him. So that's it for running backs. We'll talk about some wide receiver. According to this, they got Khalil Shakir as the number one, but it sounds like Keon Coleman is doing a pretty good chance of winning the number one running back job. So we'll see what happens. And he was a second round pick, but Shakir did show some promise last year. So we'll see what happens, and I feel like he probably will be the number one wide receiver, but it's like they have a lot of unproven guys like him. Like he was a high draft pick. That's about it because obviously he's a rookie, so he hasn't played a single snap in the NFL yet. So then we got Khalil Shakir. Like yeah, he showed some flashes last year, but he didn't play much obviously because they had Stephon Diggs and they had Gabe Davis, who are both gone now. Also, they need guys to step up to replace them. I'm not saying they're not completely replace them because Diggs, he was a DBS, but he was still a good wideout, so he is going to be hard to replace. But he only because he had 39 catches for 611 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged almost 16 yards of reception, which isn't. It's hard to tell because obviously he didn't. That's not a huge workload, so it's kind of hard to judge it. Then he also had 10 catches on 12 targets for 75 yards in the postseason for 2 tutties. Like yeah. So, but they don't have a ton. So then next we got Curtis Samuel. Like he's had some good years, but like he hasn't. He'll spent the past few years with the Commanders, but he hasn't been as good as he was with the Panthers before that when he was with DJ Moore. And like they were some best friends. I feel like because he always like after they left each other, like they feel like they always for a while they were posting videos of them like their handshakes and stuff. But he's still a decent wide receiver. As your wideout 3, that's fine. Then yeah, because he did have 62 catches for 613 yards and 4 tutties. but still, he obviously just didn't play much. So then behind him, we got you got MVS or Marquez Valdez Scantling. Like, you're glad he's not starting. Hopefully, assuming Samuel stays healthy. But like Valdez Scantling, like with freaking Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, he did not do that great. Like, he had some bad drops. Like, there's a reason they were fine releasing him instead of keeping him for his contract. And yeah, he only had 21 catches, 315 yards, and one tutty, and like he's gonna have more opportunities. He was a starter last year, or at least partially, because they didn't have much of a wide out last year. So it took Rasheed Rice a little bit to break out, and like he had 21 catches, yes, but he he had 42 targets. So like he doesn't mean all obviously doesn't mean all of them are drops and on him, but like some of them are, which you don't like that many, but at least he's your number four. Behind him, you got Chase Claypool, and he had a good rookie. He had like a good rookie year and I guess decent sophomore year, but he's fallen off. Like, there was jokes going around that like the Bears have done terrible since they traded for Claypool from the Steelers, and also like that's even if I didn't like the trade anyways because like the Bears traded their own first for him, which I think ended up being Joey Porter Jr. Was a good cornerback. He's a Steelers number one corner, which I know isn't saying a ton right now because they don't have the greatest corners, but still, like I think it was the Dolphins last year. He barely played, but he still had 8 catches for 77 yards and one touchdown. But yeah, then behind him, he got Matt Collins. Like, he's okay. Like, he'll as your number six, that's good, but like you never want him touching the field. Yeah, but as your number six, that's fine. Because yeah, behind him, you got Justin Shorter. He was a recent. This is his second year. It was just a fifth round pick, so it was probably between. I feel like Hollins would probably beat him out for a roster spot, but I feel like Shorter will at least be if he doesn't make the roster, for sure be practice squad guy because they could use him just as depth. You got KJ Hamler. He's not that good. Like, he's most likely not making the roster. Like, he shouldn't. Like, if he does, how many injuries did you have? Well, unless he broke out, you never know. It does happen, but I just doubt he's going to at this point. Like, he did not do that much for Denver. Then you got Andy Isabella. No, like he was from a loaded receiver class in 2019, some really good ones, but he was not one of them. And like I think was he drafted one pick? I think he was drafted one or two picks ahead of DK Metcalf because I think he was late, like one of the last two picks of the second round that year. But so still, like, yeah, he should make the roster. And then got Terrell Shavers, Brian Thompson, and Xavier Johnson. Like, none of them should make the roster. Like, probably one or two of them might make the practice squad, but yeah, like KJ Hamler and Isabella are most likely not making the roster or practice squad just because they're a little older. So you don't get much from them at this point. Then a tight end, you're pretty good at tight end. Like, you're fine at tight end. Like, you got Dalton Kincaid. Like he was a first round pick. Like, a lot of people knocked them for drafting a first round pick at tight end when they already had a good tight end, Dawson Knox, but he still did good. Like, he had 73 catches for 673 yards and two touchdowns. Is for majority of the year, I felt like he was partially like number two tight end behind Knox. So like he didn't get a ton of opportunities until Knox got injured at one point. So it's like this isn't the starter. So if he can be a main starter, or even if it's still 1A, 1B tight end thing, but he gets more than snaps, that's good for him. I feel like he'll have a breakout year. But still, like, they still have Dawson Knox, so he's still a good tight end. It's just, can he stay healthy this year? And like, yeah, just like if he can stay healthy, and but and be like a good number two tight end, that's good. Like if they have it, if those guys stay healthy, they had probably the best tight end room in the league. Just because it's tough, because like they don't have one of the top tight ends, so it's just like the top like Travis Kelsey and like some of the depth tight ends the Chiefs have make up for that. Just as an example, or like the Ravens, because they have two good tight ends, so probably the Ravens are number one, but like the Bills are up there for top tight end room, which is okay, but like that's not the most important position, so it doesn't matter a ton. Behind them, you got Quentin Morris and Trey McKitty. Like probably one of them are probably don't make the roster. Well, or and Zach Davison's there too. I feel like one of the three is probably make the roster because they're probably don't want to carry three tight ends just in case if Knox does get injured again, because he was just injured that last year and he didn't play a ton. So we'll see. But like not these guys should be getting any snaps unless they get injured. Unless Dox or Kincaid gets injured. So yeah. And behind at fullback you got Reggie Gilliam, which is he should be, who cares? Like, yeah. The defensive line, left tackle, sorry, let's go defensive line. Got a good left tackle, Deion Dawkins. Like, they're great there. Like, you're fine there. You're not going to try to find a replacement for him, a left tackle. It's like, yeah. Then behind him, a left tackle, I got Ryan Van Denmark, which is he's okay backup. Like, this is his second season, but he's already 26. So like I doubt he's gonna get much better, and he's already not that good anyways. So if you can get a better backup, that's good. Then you also got Tylen Grambell and Richard Joriag. Neither of those guys should make the roster. It might make one of them might go to the practice squad, but yeah. Left guard, you got David Edwards. He's a good left guard. Like he's a good left guard. It's not great, but he's fine. Like, you can do worse. Like, so yeah, and then behind him we got Alec Anderson. He's a bad player, if we're being honest, but he's another old guy, second year guy. This is his second year. He's already 24, soon to be 25. So you're probably not going to get much more out of him unless he develops out of nowhere, which can happen, but doesn't happen a ton. That's got Keaton Bills and Gunnar Britton. Same thing with Tyler Grambell and Richard Juriag. Probably won't make the roster. At center, you're doing pretty good at center. Like, you got Connor McGovern, which is a good starter. Like, you'll be fine with him. And if he does do bad, like, you got a potential good replacement for him. It's Cedric Van Prang Gringer, who just already a long name, but decided to add another part to it last year. He was a 5th round pick, but like that wasn't that long ago that he was projected like around 2nd or 3rd round. So if like you can have McCovern be a starter for a year, and then Van Prang can replace him next year, and boom, like you save some cap space because you got a guy in a rookie deal starting now, and the Bills don't have a ton of cap space because they got Josh Allen on. Josh Allen is not a rookie deal anymore. Behind him, we got Will Clapp. He'll probably I feel like he'll find a way to make the roster just because he's a good backup, but you don't want him starting. That's why it's good that he's probably your 3rd center, but it's still like you don't have a ton of good backups, so there's a decent chance he'll make the roster. Right guard, got Cyrus Torrance. He was okay his rookie year, but that's his rookie year. He was a 2nd round pick. Most offensive linemen in general don't do good their rookie year, so he should get better and he should be good next year. And should be like their offensive line is doing okay. Like, it's not the greatest, but it's not anywhere near the worst. I feel like it's around the middle. Then you got Kim and Jarvis. Like, I feel like Will Clapp will probably be the backup, try to be the backup right guard over him, and so Jarvis probably won't make the roster. And then right tackle, you got Spencer Brown. Like, He's huge. He's 6'8", 311. So yeah, he's a good fine starting tackle. Like at least he's on your blind sign tackle. So you don't care. Obviously, you want good tackles, but not as much when it's not the blind side. Behind him, you got Leo Collins. Like he's had some good years, but he's like fallen off these past few. Like once he left the Cowboys, he's been terrible. Like yeah, like he's had a big deal with the Bengals, and he was just fell off. Like he had some injuries and he disappeared. But he's a good. He can be a good starter if he can stay healthy. But he's also 31 at this point, so I doubt he will be as much. Just because he's how old he is. And you got Travis Clayton. He'll sure to make the roster. Tommy Doyle. He's been. He's a good backup. Promise he's injured, so we'll see what happens with him. And moving to the defense, we got Edge, got Greg Russo. Like he's been really good for them. Like he was a first round pick and he's lived up to that. And he's been like yeah, like last year he didn't do a ton of good stats, but let's see, he had okay, it doesn't tell me, but yeah, he had 5 sacks, 30 tackles, and yeah, and one forced fumble, 0 interceptions. We don't really expect a defensive lineman to get interception, but it's just there, so I figured I might as well mention it. And he also had 4 pass deflections, so we'll see. So yeah, he's a good number. He's not like if you can, he can be a good guy, like, but he's not great. And behind him, we got Dewan Smoot, and then he's a good backup, but that's about it. Like he had 1 sack last year. That's like, but he also obviously didn't play not much, which you hope he doesn't either this year. Like yeah, like they also got Casey Toohill. He most likely will make the roster since he's been decent. Cameron Klein shouldn't make the roster, hopefully. And defensive tackle, got Ed Oliver, great defensive tackle. Like him, him and Rousseau are a great 1-2 combo on the defensive line. Like yeah, like as a defensive tackle, he had 9.5 sacks, 34 solo tackles, and he also had 1 pick. Like not every defensive tackle is Aaron Donald and get almost 20 sacks every year. Like that's pretty good for most defensive tackles. And you also got Daquan Jones. He's a good number 2 defensive tackle. Like obviously, you don't. If Oliver goes down, you're kind of screwed at defensive tackle. Like you got some young recent draft picks, but still, like yeah, you got Dwayne Carter and Austin Johnson. Dwayne Carter can be a development guy. Could be good soon because he was a 3rd round pick out of the class this past draft. So we'll see. Austin Johnson, he's what he is. He's just a deaf guy, and yeah, he'll be fine as a deaf guy, but that's it. Like he literally had 0 sacks last year, but obviously he didn't play much. The other edge, you got AJ Epinesa. He finally had a good year, like a decent year last year. Like yeah, he had 9. It's not a great year. It's an okay year, but it took him a while. Yeah, he had 9 solo tackles. He had 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 picks. Like yeah, that's good for that's not great, but like as your probably third best defensive lineman, unless Von Miller like comes out and finally stays healthy and gets somewhat close to his prime, but he probably will never be as good as he used to be anymore because when he was in his prime, he was a Hall of Famer. But like ever since he signed with the Bills, like he's struggled with injuries, and like he did when he came over, he was already old. Like they signed him a 6-year deal, it was his mid-30s, and yeah, like he's getting paid a lot to not be even starting this, according to the ESPN. But yeah, then you got Javon Solomon, recent draft pick. He'll probably make the roster. Kingsley Jonathan most likely won't. Then you go to linebacker. Like, you got Matt Milano. He's a great starter linebacker. Like, there's a reason they kept him over Tremaine Edmonds last offseason. Might also been because he didn't want to pay him as much as Edmonds wanted, but still Milano's a good starter. He had a lot better year than Edmonds, so they showed him. He showed the Bills why it was a good decision to keep him over Edmonds. And behind him, you got Deion Jones. Like, he used to be a great starting middle linebacker for the Falcons a few years ago, but he's fallen off. He's dealt with some injuries. He's just not that good anymore. And yeah, like, come on. And you also got Dufanon Ufushoyo. Sorry, I probably butchered the name. Probably found a way onto the practice squad. But yeah, he was a fifth round pick, so I'm sure they'll find a way to get him on the practice squad somehow. And you also got Turnell. Then you got middle linebacker. You got Terrell Bernard. He's a good linebacker. Like, he is just going to his third year, so he can break out and get a lot better. Like, he just has a lot of opportunities because some of the guys in front of him. But yeah, he had 143 total tackles, 84 solo, 6.5 sacks, three fumble recoveries, 0 forced fumbles. He had 3 picks. That's pretty good. I guess your second best linebacker. Like, yeah. Behind him, we got Balen Spector. You hope he never really. He might break out because it feels like the Bills always have good linebackers in the last few years since they hired McDermott. I feel like so he might be good because he was a recent draft pick, so he is only 25 right now. And you also got Joe Anderson. It's probably most likely or Anderson, but it's a weird long spelling, so I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, he shouldn't. He probably might make the roster just because they have 3 middle linebackers, but Deion Jones can also be middle linebacker, so it'll probably be him. Shane Simon shouldn't make the roster. Your linebacker position, you got Nicholas Moreau. Like, he's a fine number 3 linebacker, like behind Milano and Bernard, so that's fine. Like, but that's about it. Like, he's decent. And you also got behind him, you got Dorian Williams. He was a third round pick last year. I don't think he really played much, but he did have 25 solo tackles, 40 total. And yeah, that's only really the only stats he had. He didn't have a first fumble recovery. He didn't have interception. So yeah, but he was a recent third round pick. So yeah. Then let's go to cornerback. Or secondary, I should say, because this is I think that probably their most changed position this past year because they got rid of Tre'Davious White, who was a pretty good corner for a long time for them. They got rid of Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. It's like that was a good safety duo for a long time. Like, they weren't as good lately, but still, like, you did bring back Taylor Rapp at safety, but still. So then first we'll go to your starting corner. You got Russell Douglas. I'd rather have him as a slot or like not a number 1. Like, when he had some good years in Green Bay, he wasn't their number 1 corner. He was their at most their number 2 behind Jair Alexander, who was a really good corner. So yeah, tending behind him, you got Kyrie Williams, recent first round pick. Like, hope he can break out, but like, there's a reason the Chiefs in 2022 trade up right in front of the Bills to draft Trey McDuffie, and look how Trey McDuffie has worked out. Like, it just sucks for the Bills. That's how it works sometimes. Like, your rivals don't try and get in front of you and screw you over. So far, that's how it worked, but hopefully you can carry on, can have a good year. Then behind him, we got Cameron Brown. Okay, he's bad. He's not even that good. He's depth. Strong safety, you got Taylor Rapp. Like, he's been a good safety. Like, he he had a good year. He had a decent year last year, even though he didn't play a ton because they, like I just said, they had Poyer and Hyde. So yeah, but he did have 33 solo tackles and one pick, and then two pass deflections. Yeah, so he had 50 total tackles and half a sack and one fumble recovery. He didn't force it, but he did recover it. So that always helps because he was near the ball, obviously. Behind him, you got Kareem Jackson. He's old at this point. Like, he's not nearly as good as he used to be, but he's good depth. So yeah. Guys behind him is strong safety shouldn't make the roster. Then at free safety, you got Mike Edwards. He's good. Like, he has had some good years. Like, he's a good starter. So yeah, that's a decent safety combo. Behind him, you got DeMar Hamlin. Like, I feel like if it wasn't for that scary injury he had last year, like, nobody would know who this guy was. No offense to him, but like, he barely played. He was a healthy scratch almost all the games last year. So it's like, yeah, just like yeah, like, he might make the roster just because of that stuff. Because I feel like they want him on the bad press for counting him already. And then we got Cole Bishop and Terrell Burgess. One of them should probably won't. Neither might make the roster, but probably one of them should be in the practice squad. And then the other corners, you get Christian Benford. Like, he was good last year. Like, he's a decent second corner. Then you also got Jamarcus Ingram, who offensive this dude, but I have never heard of before. Like, he's a UADFA out of Buffalo and rookie, and he's almost 27, and he hasn't even started his rookie year. Like, he's on turn 27 in September, like early September. They got Kenny Lovely, another guy I haven't heard of. So, like, their finest starting cornerbacks, like, they got three good starters, like three of them. Like, if they go nickel with Tron Johnson, but like, they don't have much at backup corner. They got a guy with could show some promise in Kyrie Allen, but outside of that, not much. So then Nickelback, you got Teron Johnson. He's one of the best. He's a pretty good third corner. Like, that's great. Then you got Daquan Hardy. He's not. You hope he never plays. And Corey Couch, same thing. He's like, you don't have great depth at corner, so hopefully it might help DeMar Hamlin make the roster just so they can have him move around a little bit to corner. Then we'll go to special teams. Got Tyler Bass. Like, he's had some bad misses, but had some bad weeks, but he's still a good kicker. And obviously, they don't have another kicker on the roster, so he's going to be their kicker. Sam Martin. I don't pay any attention to punters. So yeah, they got Khalil Shakir as your returners, but it does happen, but I feel like it doesn't happen. You don't really have like one of your starting wideouts for your returners a ton, just because you don't want to risk them getting injured as special teams. So yeah, then you got Reed Ferguson at long snapper. Who cares? So yeah, no offense to him, but it's long snapper. Nobody really cares. So let's go to their schedule. Week 1, you got the Cardinals. Winnable. That you should win that one. Like, if there's no excuse if you really lose that one, if we're being honest. Got the Dolphins. You'll probably lose that one because it's early in the year before they downfall, and it's at Miami. Got the Jags. That should be a win. So yeah, they'll probably lose against the Ravens because it's at Baltimore. Yeah. And at Houston, that's gonna be a tough one, but since it's being in Houston, I feel like they'll probably lose. They should beat the Jets. They should beat the Titans. They should beat the Seahawks. I feel like they're going to split the season series with the Dolphins. They probably beat the Colts, but it's hard to know for sure just because Anthony Richardson got injured early on last year, so he didn't play a ton. So he should develop and be a good quarterback for them. And they almost made the playoffs with Gardner Minshew. So yeah, they should win that one. Probably not lose to the Chiefs. Like, I mean, if they don't, they'll probably just win the playoffs if they face them in the playoffs because the Bills can obviously be in Mahomes in the regular season, but they can't beat them in the playoffs. They got their bye. Got the Niners. Probably not lose that one. Should beat the Rams. Probably not lose the Lions, especially since it's in Detroit. Should beat the Patriots. Should beat the Jets again, and should sweep the Patriots. I think they might split it with New York, but I doubt it. I should definitely sweep the Patriots. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a good one, you guys.